So in my post today on Instagram, I talked about privilege and how we typically think of white privilege, but it's so many. We typically hear about white privilege and speak about white privilege, but there's so many different kinds. Um, you got class. So if you didn't grow up poor, you have privilege. If you don't currently qualify for like Medicaid, Section 8, if you ain't currently poor, you have privilege. If you're lighter skinned, you have privilege. If you don't identify, if you don't consider yourself part of the LGBTQ community, you have privilege. If you got a diploma, degree, and however many degrees, that's even more privilege. Like it's so, if you were born in the U.S., that's a privilege. There's so many different kinds. Well, now I want to also talk about how privilege is the parent of assimilation. So we kind of use privilege as barometer of success. So, and when I say we did, actually, I'm talking past and present because we still do that. So we say that, and some of it is physical. So it's saying, okay, well, like basically, the model of success here in America is what white people are doing because they were the first ones to acquire the material success here in this country, this post-colonialism, like after they got here, because I ain't talking about before, they defined all the things that we come to say that we want now. So when so we say, like, even physically, so like I was saying, like the lighter I am, the more I have a chance to be successful. And it shows too, because if I look like you, then I'll be accepted by you, and then I'll have even more opportunities to be successful like you. If I sound like you, then I'll be accepted by you, and I have more opportunities to be successful like you. All in all the different ways, if I think like you, so I'm adopt your traditions and your customs because I want to be accepted by you, so that I can have the same opportunities and measure and level of success as you. Well, then that's assimilation, wanting to be as much like another group as possible, really for that reason, for that acceptance and slash success. Well, then there's another level of it. Then you have respectability politics that come along. And I've been kind of like thinking, like, would that be a child of assimilation, or is that also a child of privilege? It don't matter. What it means is that so now we take that assimilation, and so maybe some of us have reached a level of success that we say it's because of that particular privilege that we acquired. We were able to assimilate if that was necessary, because some of them are just, you born that way and you can't help it. If I'm born and my parents got money, that's a privilege, but I couldn't help that. If I'm born light skinned, it might be a privilege, but I couldn't help that. Even if I was born white, it's a privilege, but I couldn't help that. Right? But there were some that I could. And so maybe like we know that, for example, I'm gonna use like Sha'Carri Richardson, for example. She beast in the Olympics, beast in it. But I'm trying to do my video. She got the long hair. You know who told me I need to do these videos every day. She got the long weave, the long nails, and the piercings. And we'll say like, you ain't good enough. Like, you don't have a right to, it was a fly. You don't have a right to represent us as black people. You ain't doing it right. That's what respectability politics is. Like, if y'all just pull up y'all pants, quit sagging your pants and doing this, then you can be accepted, and then you can be successful. If you do this, then you'll be accepted, and then it's like, just change who you currently are. Don't be you. Don't do it like that. And of course I'm not talking about like harmful ways, toxic ways that harm other people. Nah, those things do need to be changed. But if it ain't hurting nobody else, but we think they need to change in order to be accepted, then that is a level of respectability politics. And if it ain't hurting themselves too, like blatantly hurting themselves too, like self-harm, cutting, drugs. When I say drugs, I'm not talking, heroin, things like that. As long as it's not blatantly, explicitly harming other people and harming themselves, that's not what I'm talking about. But when you want somebody else to change who they are because you think that it'll better represent us as a people, or that they should do that so that they can be accepted and acquire success, that all goes back to needing to check your privilege, and even checking just your mindset in general, and see what ism that you've internalized. Like, internalized racism has a lot to do with thinking the softer, looser curl pattern, the good hair, is better than my hair, the kinky hair, or than my hair because it's so much thicker. It's so thick that it's even good hair. That the lighter skin, the better. It's just so many internalized isms that we have. Classism is another really, really, really big one. And I want to say it's damn near right on par with fucking racism. It's like saying that, it's so much against us as poor people that I think sometimes that we think it's just us as black people. But now it's like a poor people thing. And so that's really the point of this video here, to talk about how, privilege has a lot, because it comes out of oppression. It comes out of oppression and superiority in some kind of sense, whether that's male dominance over women. You have some kind of privilege, and then out of that you get assimilation, and then out of that, that grind culture and all that shit. That's not us that's not our stuff. That's not our tradition. That's not our custom. That's not our stuff. We picked that up. And out of that, then we also got respectability politics, so that we use those barometers of success and we start using that against each other. So that's my porch talk for today. Peace.